While I was going live.
Okay.
All right, let me make sure we're live. Yep, we are. All right. Good morning, everybody. We are here with Marshida King. Am I saying your name correctly? Okay, I thought so, but I thought let me make sure. She is the owner of Shaped and Molded. They make really cute, amazing earrings designed to fit every woman. That's your kind of slogan, right?
Yes.
Awesome.
Every woman everywhere.
Every woman everywhere. That's right. Awesome. Okay, Marshita, tell me a little bit about you. Tell me about your family. How long have you been a military spouse? That kind of thing.
Cool. So I'm originally from St. Louis. Both my husband and I are from St. Louis. Born and raised there, the both of us. We have been to a few different places. We've been at Fort Riley for almost a year, and we'll be leaving pretty soon. So it's been a journey. I think there's no handbook on how to be a military spouse.
Right.
You kind of just marry into it and figure it out along
Right,
the
right,
way.
right.
And I've had a lot of experiences myself. And Shaped and Molded was really birthed out of my faith. So I am a Christian woman and something that I'm very unapologetic about. And that piece of me being a Christian woman and hearing so many experiences of different military wives, and not just military wives, but women,
Hmm.
period. I've been working with girls and women for quite a while, talking about beauty and confidence and those types of things. And I realized you can give someone as many tools, but
Hmm.
it's still an inward belief of who
Hmm.
they are and how they identify. And so a lot of times for women, it's like throw your hair in a bun, throw on a jacket, and walk out of the house, put on a little mascara.
Hmm.
And I wanted these earrings to be like a part of that process.
Sure.
I'm throwing on my favorite earrings because these earrings add a piece of spunk, and I don't have that spunk today.
Yeah.
I have to run. Yeah, I have to run to the grocery store with several kids
Yeah.
and make dinner
Yeah.
before my husband gets home, or I just want to feel beautiful today,
Hmm.
and I made sure that every single handmade earring that I create um, has that spunk to it and has that tenacity. And I also pray over every batch, and each batch has a prayer that goes with it for the woman that's wearing them.
Nice. Yeah. Awesome. Okay, well, you kind of um already told me about your business a little bit. You went into that. But how did you get
Yeah, of
started?
course.
Like what was, I mean, you did say that you had been working with women and girls and addressing beauty and things, but kind of if there's anything else you could add or elaborate, like kind of what led from talking to people about it to earrings, or what was the light bulb moment that went, hey, earrings is what I need to do.
Yeah, so I've always been a painter. Both my husband and I are
Okay.
both painters.
Yeah.
So I paint leather items. So I came from that particular area with Unashamed Artistry. Shaped and Molded is actually a business under Unashamed Artistry.
Okay.
And so I went from there, and I was going through a place where the Lord was just really shaping and molding me.
Hmm.
Because coming from St. Louis, my husband and I had been married, but I moved here right before the shutdown
Yeah.
with COVID. And so I came from working, my entire life since I was about 15 with a worker's permit to I'm here, I don't have a job, I'm not
Right.
working. Communications between my husband and I about if I need to work.
Hmm.
I got pregnant. All these things are
Right.
happening really fast, and I'm like, what is life?
Yeah. Yeah.
What is what am I in? And walking up and down the stairs and just waking up to a different process. I was like, Lord, who am I now? Like, I
Hmm.
don't have that job. I don't have that title. Um, the community I used to have is hours away now.
Right.
Who am I? And the Lord was just really shaping and molding me. And I realized through conversations with other military spouses that that's another thing that's happening with them. They came from being
Mhm.
directors of an organization or company to I'm here and I'm working at Starbucks.
Right.
It's a huge shift.
Yeah.
And of course, we take pride in the positions that we have, and I think the Lord really humbles us when we go through those processes. So shaped
Hmm.
and molded really came from, okay, Lord, give me something. And I
Yeah.
started working part time at a particular place, and I walked through this aisle, and I was like, okay, there's some clay. Let me play with clay. I've always been interested in pottery, though I was a
Hmm.
painter. I always loved to physically be able to touch and mold something.
Right.
And Jeremiah 18 is our foundational scripture, which really talks about the potter and the clay.
Hmm.
And that's where it started. And learning those stories in my own personal process of being shaped and molded and remembering that my identity is in Christ and not in the titles that I have in this world. Um, and one more thing about shaped and molded is every piece that I purchase. So whether if it's tassels or gold fillings or clips, I make sure that they are all fair trade.
Oh, awesome.
Because when I say women everywhere, I really make
Hmm.
sure that I'm purchasing from women. These women are being paid equal
Right.
wages. For example, our tassels come from India and they are fair trade. Those women are being paid fair wages. And with the clay, I can't do so much with the clay piece,
Hmm.
but each pair of earrings during particular seasons. So, for example, we're in October, which is Breast Cancer Awareness Month,
Okay.
and we're making sure that we donate a portion of our proceeds to an organization that contributes to breast cancer research.
Hmm.
My nana actually passed from breast cancer. So this is something that a topic that's important to me, and it's important to my business to support women everywhere.
Yeah. Awesome. That's great. So lots of good being done with your earrings. It seems like, oh, I'm just gonna buy some earrings, but really it's touching multiple different. So you really mean it, every woman. That's
Yeah.
awesome. That's awesome. I love how much meaning and thought is behind everything, every aspect of your business. Your name. I mean, it's not just. I'm horrible at naming stuff, so
Okay.
so I'm like, wow, that's really like powerful. Everything in there. So that's awesome. And then so I was the next question is how long have you been doing this? You just but I think I feel like you said you kind of when you guys got moving here March, April, you kind of led into it from
Yeah.
there. Okay, so pretty
So we
recent.
launched in April
Okay.
with, was it April? It was June, July. No, August. We launched in
Cool.
August. But like I said, Shaped and Molded is a sister company of Unashamed Artistry.
Right.
So with getting registered with the state and making sure we do all the legal things, it
Right.
kind of had a different establishing number, but not so much because it's up under another company that we have.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
For some reason, I saw your posts and everything, and I just thought you've been doing this forever. I didn't realize that you had recently, probably because of some of that overlap, but I just thought
Mm-hmm.
that it was something you've been doing. So I met you before you started this. I didn't even realize it.
Uh-huh.
Well,
Yeah.
awesome. Neat. Okay. Well, being a new business, but being overlapped with the other business, you might be able to speak to this. If not, that's okay. But what would you say maybe the biggest struggle or challenge of running a business as a military spouse, as far as how that looks specific to also having the military life to juggle?
Well, the biggest thing is the great thing is that my product, I batch my product and have an Etsy account to host everything.
Hmm.
Because hosting is super difficult, especially when you don't know where you're about to go.
Right.
So, like opening a brick and mortar or a storefront could it's not necessarily in question right now until
Right.
we're no longer active duty. Everything has to be kind of online because my business has to move with me,
Right.
and I have to make sure that clients are being taken care of.
Hmm.
And shipments are still being sent out with tracking, and Etsy's really great about kind of doing all that work for you. You just put input
Yeah.
data, which is why I chose that platform.
Right.
Until we get to a place where we have other people that are on the team and creating with me, and
Right.
then we'll transition out of it. But that part is really difficult. managing finances
Mhm.
is super difficult because I still have to purchase product, I have to purchase marketing materials, find time to keep up with social media. And when you only have that one income that comes from either spouse, you
Right.
have to find creative ways to make your own income for
Right.
your
Right.
business.
Sure.
And so I got a part time job, and my husband and I both prayed and agreed that the first couple of checks would be purchasing materials for this particular
Mhm.
business. And it's been able to make that money back. But you also have to think your first year of business, you're not really making a profit.
Right.
You're flipping a lot of money.
Mhm.
The money you make is going right back in a
Right.
lot of times. So thinking of that risk and investment. But the beautiful thing is staying consistent. Like I
Mhm.
started this business, I didn't start this business thinking, oh, we're going to make six figures. I started this
Right.
business saying women need support.
Right.
And if an earring can be a response, just like
Mhm.
Tom's, a pair of shoes is a
Right.
response.
Right.
So it is something that it's a heart project, and sometimes they don't make a whole lot, but
Sure.
I'm doing it for the women that are around me, the women that I'll be able to meet
Mhm.
and go from there and have
Yeah.
conversations.
Yeah, and it gives you a mission. It gives you something to focus on that you can take with you. So like you said, you talked about kind of that identity crisis of moving away from what you've always done and having to start over. And this gives you something, um, not that it is your identity, but it gives you
Yeah,
something to take with you, something meaningful to be working towards. And I think we're created to do something meaningful. So I
yeah,
think that when we have that like draw or pull or identity like struggle is because that's in us to do something to make our world better. So
absolutely.
awesome. What would you tell another spouse or service member veteran who's wanting to start their own? I mean, you're a spouse, so you can speak to that specifically, but somebody comes to you and says, "Hey, I'm thinking about starting my own business," just whatever that business may be. What would your like top piece of advice be for them?
I think the first piece that, like, the first thing that came to my mind is like, girl, get up. Because sometimes that's the hardest part of the day
Hmm.
is to start your day.
Yeah,
Sometimes you want to stay in bed and work from bed or stay in the house. I'm like, no, like, girl, get
keep going.
up
Hmm.
and get an agenda. I typically have mine where I literally, so stuff goes in my mind all the time. So I have like a little notebook where I write down my to do list
Okay.
because sometimes my day can feel very whimsical, but when I can mark things off that to do list, I feel more accomplished.
Hmm.
Um, do that, do the research. Don't feel like you have to pay someone off the bat. It's great to pay people because people need to be paid,
Right.
but do as much research as possible and find your why before you start something. We all have a why, and most of the time it's connected to our story
Uh-huh.
and what's impacted us our entire life. Um, for for me, it was having my parents were never married, so that was something that was very they really impacted my life growing up in a single parent household. For some, it's seeing different types of things happen in their neighborhood.
Hmm.
Find that why and stick to it, and find your community around that why,
Hmm.
because we are we are women, but we are impactful together.
Yeah.
So when we do that, it's amazing. And also the support of your spouse is really, really important.
Hmm.
Um, so being prayerful about that and um, being in sync with what that direction is.
Right.
Um, so definitely, girl, get up, write that plan, follow that dream, pray on it, and find your why.
Awesome. Yeah. And I think it's interesting you mentioned doing the research. And last week, our interviewer, that was one of her tops too, is do the research before you spend any money. Um,
Yes.
so that's definitely, yeah. Clearly, anybody out there watching who's thinking about starting a business needs to take that advice.
Yes, do it.
Awesome. Okay. So then that spouse that's talking to you, they go on and they say, "Well, I think I want to make jewelry too." So then what piece of advice are you going to give them specific to that industry?
So if they want to make jewelry, finding sustainable products. For me, I had to make sure I found products that were hypoallergenic.
Mm-hmm.
I have sensitive ears myself. My ears will break out in a heartbeat.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to make sure that that things were hypoallergenic. Also, I'm personally a military spouse that does not mind helping.
Mm-hmm.
Not everyone is willing to give up those tips and secrets, but
Sure.
there's enough. I believe that there's enough room for all of us.
Yeah.
Who I'm going to impact is not going to be who they're going to impact.
Yeah.
And that's how those things work. And God made an entire world, so there's enough space for us to function.
Right.
So definitely do that particular research. There are a lot of YouTubers, TikTok, Instagrammers who have polymer clay, and that's why I use polymer clay earrings.
Okay.
Businesses, if that's what they want to go into. If it's metals is a very difficult and it's more expensive,
Yeah.
because those metals are expensive. If you want to use silver or gold plated, have a relationship with your vendor
Mm-hmm.
is important. I have built a relationship with my vendors. My first email was, I want to build a relationship because I only want to work with one person in this area.
Okay.
And they're helpful. They can give you bulk prices. They can tell you, we're not going to have something in by this shipment, so you can inform your customers. Having a relationship with your vendors is so, so, so important, especially if they are not in the US.
Right.
Um, Especially during COVID, you need to talk to your vendors.
Sure.
But I would definitely say that your logo, your brand, your mission, your why. I'm always going to come back to your why,
Right.
because it's your foundation. When you're not making money for a
Mm-hmm.
month or two, or you didn't get the residual that you thought, it's your why that is going to sustain you and keep you going.
Okay. Yeah. And this is a question that we could probably do a whole separate interview on, so I'm not like asking you to go into too much detail, but if you can, if there's a quick answer, how do you go about finding your vendors? Because I know that's something in the past I've looked into. Like, I want to
Yeah.
do crafts for this or the farmers market. I mean, I'm a very creative person
Okay.
myself.
Uh
Um,
huh.
and when I've gotten to look, when you try to get past like the big name box store type of things, or with jewelry, I'm like, Firestone Gems is great, but like you're talking about
Uh huh.
sustainable stuff coming straight from the vendor and all that. And I think that's great. But I know personally, I've tried to look into it before and I'm like, where are these people? I have no idea. So, how do you even begin to find those people?
So for me, sometimes I would just simply inbox other polymer clay earring
Okay.
designers. And sometimes they would respond, and sometimes they would say, I don't want to give my specific vendor, but put this in your search.
Oh, okay.
Asking
Mm-hmm.
is never a no.
Okay.
It's never a negative thing.
Okay.
Um, and then the second part is I use Etsy and I search through Etsy.
Okay.
Etsy is really good about sustainable, organic. They've always been, because these people, the vendors on there, most of them are those kind of people.
Oh, okay.
So I kind of just search back through Etsy and just put that in the link. Also, it goes back to the relationship building.
Mhm.
Inbox them and say, hey, are these sustainable? Is this stainless steel? Is
Mhm.
this hypoallergenic?
Okay.
Will this rust if water gets on it? Asking those questions and reading the reviews
Okay.
is very important. I think we kind of look over them, but when it comes down to your product and your
Right.
name and your brand, um, read every single review and ask for a sample. It's not
Okay.
or just order one. Some people will let you order just like a small batch to
Uh-huh.
start. Try them on yourself
Okay.
and see if they move, if something is rusting, if it falls out. I tried my products on myself before I sold anything.
Oh.
And I gave like a sample to my mom and my great aunt.
Hmm.
And my great aunt loves fine jewelry. So I knew she would say, hey, this is making my ear hurt.
Right.
So sampling it instead of just trying to hurry up and move production. So using Etsy, even in Amazon, you can always contact the vendor.
Okay.
And I think we forget that because we just want to
Hmm.
purchase. contact that vendor. And then that shows you how soon they respond, if there's someone that's going to be responsive to you.
Okay.
That's important.
Awesome. Yeah.
And then eventually you can start, once you get your retail license, you can start going to the wholesale um, vendors, but you have to have your retail license. I
Okay.
think it's like your tax ID information
Right.
before you can go to those. But just to start off, I've definitely gone through particular vendors that I've loved and will always use until I get to that point where I'm doing mass production
Hmm.
and I'm going to those the retail
Right.
conferences. Yeah.
Sure. That makes sense. Thanks. Yeah, that's helpful. I hadn't thought of most of those ideas, so clearly I needed that. Not that I'm trying to do that right now, but it's
No, it's fine.
yeah, it's great. Um, Before we kind of get to the wrap up section, I want to say if anybody's watching and you have any questions, throw them in the chat or in the comments of this live. I am keeping tabs on it, so I will hopefully see your comment and we will get those answered. But just kind of as a last thing, what would you, sorry, my nose is running. This
No, it's
fall,
okay. Allergy season is in full
that's
effect.
right. I am thrilled that the weather has cooled off and it's beautiful out and it's the leaves are changing, everything's lovely, but my goodness, it is not doing my sinuses any favors. It has been the last couple weeks just oh, but
Mm.
we'll get through it and then it will be too cold. So
Yeah.
um anything else you would like to share? Any encouragement for the people watching? Anything you want to share about your business? Anything that has come up that I didn't ask that you want to put out there? This is your time to kind of tell us whatever you want.
Yeah. So I guess I can talk about the new line. I have been like clearancing out the shop. So people have been shopping with like 40 and now 50% off in order to make room for so many new earrings I've done. But I want to speak specifically to the prayer that's over this new one.
Okay.
Um, so we're in fall and then going into winter when a lot of people have gone through different seasons of seasonal depression,
Mm-hmm.
and it's a real thing. It's definitely something that's real in military life, that's not talked about enough. And so we talk about that, and suicide and those types of things are very heavy topics.
Mm-hmm.
And my prayer that's been over this one is that we live. So this new line is called Live.
Nice.
Just because a lot of spouses have spouses that have been deployed or haven't been able to come home, or all these things, and they're at home with children or just at home period, by themselves.
Right.
And just remembering that life is a gift and the giver is good, but also remembering that your life is worth living,
Yeah.
and to live it out loud, whether that person is out of the home, whether this person is in the home, because someone can be in the home and still be uncomfortable. Let's
Mm-hmm.
just be honest. But remembering that your life is worth living, and whatever you need to do, whether it be go to the coffee shop for a day just to get out of the atmosphere,
Mm-hmm.
take a trip to Topeka, do something that
Yeah.
gets you in a new frame of mind. And you are not bound by your situation. You're not even bound by the things that you think about yourself at this time. But just to remember that your life is worth living. And as a military spouse, you are more than a military spouse.
Mm-hmm.
You are an amazing, incredible woman that is birthed with purpose, that is designed to be lived out. And the first step to doing that is to believe that your life is worth living. So I'm very, very excited about that. I'm excited about this
Yeah.
line. I have truly prayed over this line. And the colors are very vibrant, though it's fall. It's still very vibrant. This is one of the ones from this line right here. Um, it's the mustard, and all of them are different colorways. And I will be releasing. I've gotten a lot of questions like, "Will you do like an animal print line?" I'm like, I will do a short batch of
Yeah.
animal print for people who love it. But anything that makes people smile and start the conversation. That's another piece I'll add to this is have the conversation. Don't suffer in silence.
Mm-hmm.
There is someone who's willing to help, whether it be a counselor or a friend or a new friend.
Yes.
Don't be afraid to make new friends.
Yeah.
Because you never know who God is sending to your life to impact you in a positive way. So grab you a pair of earrings. And if you don't grab a pair of earrings, follow our Instagram because I make sure that all of our models send positive messages. And if you just needed a lift for a day, I promise you'll find something on our Instagram page.
Yeah.
It's not just about earrings, it's about impacting women everywhere.
Yes, absolutely. Awesome. Now, do you still have some of those clearance earrings on your site right now?
Yes.
It's on Etsy on your Etsy page. Is that where they are?
Yes.
Go over to her Etsy and grab some clearance earrings. And then when is the new line going to be up? When are you putting those?
Monday.
Monday. Okay, so then Monday, go check out the Etsy shop again. Go get your clearance
Yes.
now, and then check it out again on Monday and get some of the new line right away.
Yes.
And then when we wrap this up, Marshida, if you could throw your links in the comment to the video on the Pay It
Sure
Forward,
can.
that will be great. And then, yeah, then I'll put him in when we put this on YouTube. I'll put him in that as well. So
Okay.
throw
Awesome.
those there so everybody knows where to find you. I've tagged your Facebook page, so they've got that, but put your Instagram and your Etsy links in the comments so we all know where to
Yes,
get
ma'am.
those. And
Okay.
good. Do you know where you're moving? You guys are getting
No.
ready to move soon. You don't know yet? They just said you're
No.
leaving, but they didn't tell you where.
No.
Oh God, I love. Maybe they'll
Right.
change their
Military
mind.
life.
Maybe they'll change their mind, let you stay a little bit longer.
Yeah, I would love to stay. Like I love Manhattan, and JC has become like a home. I'm used to the city and a lot of movement, and I've now called myself a city girl with a country girl heart. And so it's just really really nice. And preferably if we have to leave or go, I just want everything to be a smooth transition,
Yes,
especially with the baby coming. So
absolutely. Yeah. Do
yeah,
you think you're going before the baby gets here? Is that
I'm
what you're
going after
anticipating?
she's here.
After.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Okay, good. At least you, yeah.
Yes.
um, happy for you about that one. Okay, well, we will be keeping you in our thoughts and prayers as far as your move goes. But
Thank you.
of course, we have this connection. Military life is everywhere. So just because she moves doesn't mean that she's disconnected from the community she's built here.
Right.
And we'll have your links, and yeah, that way we can keep in touch and keep your earrings on our in our jewelry boxes. And
Yes.
it's great. I love your purpose. I love your why. I love
Thank you.
the meaning behind everything in your business. So thank you
Thank
so
you.
much for joining us and for letting me interview you. And again,
No
sorry about
problem.
this mess of me today,
Oh,
but like we're doing it anyway.
yes.
um,
That's what we need. Push
that's right.
through
That's
because
right.
stuff has to
I
get
mean, we're
done.
on Zoom. I'm not gonna make you sick or anything if we're all good. But yeah, that's right. All right. Well, I really appreciate you, and I'm glad
Thank
you
you.
did this interview with me.
No problem. You have a beautiful day and we will talk very soon.
Absolutely. Thanks. Have a great
Bye,
day.
everyone.